everyone, it's Sharonda from Pay or Wait. And today I'm going to be reviewing House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 3, Seconds of His Name, okay? So, let's get into how this episode starts off with Raggedy looking crab feeder who gets uglier every single time the crab feeder graces my screen. Like, I was just like, how do you get worse each time that you come on the screen? And you got a mask on. Like, that's really saying something right there. But we see that the crab feeder, he's nailing a sailor's hands basically up on a stake so he can't move as the crabs eat him. But what was really sending me in this entire sequence was how the sailor was like really going in on him. He was like, no, stop. But then like once he started nailing his hand, he was like, you're F you, you're whore of a mother and your bastard father. I said, now sir, sir. Now, if someone is nailing my hands and I want them to stop, I don't think I would call their mama a hoe. I don't think I would call their father a bastard. I was just like, have this make sense for me? Because you are literally not in the position right now to be calling people like, how you gonna talk about his mama like that? You don't know his mama or his daddy. Why you talk about that man like that? And you sit up here asking him to stop. Have it make sense for me. I had to pause because I was like, sir, you are not going to curse him out for filth and then expect him to stop killing you at the same time. It just didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense. So we see that at that moment, David showed up on his dragon. So then the sailor, he was like, oh, my prince Damon, save me. And then David's dragon stepped on him. I said, well, hell no. Like, that man, like, he was talking smack, but he didn't deserve all of that. I was just like, they were being so disrespectful to him. When the dragon stepped on him like that, I was over it. Like, I just had to take a moment. I had to give it up to the Lord. I had to say a prayer for the sailor, because I was just like, I know that you didn't deserve that. You didn't deserve that. But we see that, I thought that Damon was finna take everybody out with the dragon, but then the crab feeder, he was like, hold on, son. You thought your little dragon was gonna scare me? You thought a little dragon was gonna scare me? Do you see my face, son? Well, we can't fully see your face, but we see everything that's happening around your face in the mask. So I know that probably, like, you can't mess with people who got 0 F's to give, and that's how I feel like the crab feeder is. So his people started lighting them up. They had the arrows. It's like, boop, 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 boop. I know that sounds like a club thing, but just imagine the arrow noise when I'm doing the burr, burr, burr. So it was like arrow, 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 arrow. And I was like, the dragon was like putting his wings up like, hold on, homie, we taking fire. And then the arrow hit Damon and I was like, oh, snap, that and got him. And he was like, ooh. And then he snatched it out and he had to get the hell up out of there. Cause I was like, Damon, baby, you are outnumbered. They said, we don't care about your little raggedy dragon. Tell your dragon to come on. Tell him to get some. Square up, okay? And they was ready. So he ends up going away, and then we end up cutting off to Alice's Raggedy behind, because the reason that this week's episode is called Second of His Name, because her Raggedy son, and I know what y'all thinking, Sharonda, like, this is a kid. Like, why are you talking about a child like this? And I was like, hey, baby, you know what? I believe the children are our future, okay? But any children that come from Allison, I don't care. I don't care. So I don't like the little boy, because it's Allison's son. So I don't care if he's 2 years old. I don't care if he passed the infant stage. I don't care if he's supposed to be the next heir because he is the firstborn son. I don't care. I don't care. So we see Alice and Raggedy behind. She got the son. She had a boy. And then she's pregnant with another kid. I still don't care. So we see that the king is basically being annoyed by everybody this entire episode. Baby, when I say he had enough with everybody. Because at this point, because he is 2, because he survived through his infancy, everyone expected him during this hunt celebration that he would name his son as the next heir, which would knock Renaya. Why is that sure? Renaya. I don't know my sugar name, but y'all know what I'm talking about. So they would kind of knock her out of being in and running to sit on the Iron Throne, because people wasn't rocking with her anyway because she's a woman. So we see that they attempt to speak to him about the stepstones, what's happening with Damon, Lil Corliss, and the crab feeder. But he's like, hey, y'all, like, I'm not trying to do that right now. It's a celebration. We trying to turn up. We trying to get litty. I'm trying to drink a whole bunch of wine. I'm not trying to hear about all of this because it ain't got nothing to do with me. But then they try to press the issue again. And then Hayden Otto pops up out of nowhere like he always does. And he was just like, sir, he said no. And honestly, at the end of the day, what do we need to get involved in the Stepstones when it wasn't our fight to begin with? Because last time I checked, the king didn't tell them that it was okay to be doing this stuff in the first place. So because you're losing and you think that it's up to us to send aid, that's not what we're going to do today. So the whole time the king is like, where's Rhaenyra? And I was like, now, sir, you know Rhaenyra don't care about this little boy. She don't care about our brother. She don't care about you. She don't care about Alicent. She has been like the same way we saw her last week. That's how she's been for 2 years, okay? It's F everybody. I don't mess with you. I don't mess with you. And I damn sure don't mess with these little offspring that you two have made, okay? I don't care. So she's out of sight, out of mind. We see that she's kind of sitting at the tree having this man sing to her. And I was just like, he wasn't giving. So I was just like, girl, why do you keep making him sing? Because he's not doing, he doesn't understand the assignment at all. And so we see that Alicent Raggedy Behind shows up and literally she's not messing with Alicent. And she was just like, hi, my queen. And she said it so like, you know I don't care about you. And Alicent's trying to convince her to come. And she was like, well, did he command it? Did my king command it? She said, yeah. And she like popped up, well, let's go. That's all you had to say. Like, if it's my duty, I'll have to show up. But if you think I'm showing up on my own free will, absolutely not, because I don't care. So we see that, and I was really confused because I was like, Alicent, why would you think she would ever forgive you for this? Like, did you think like a couple of years would go by and she'd be like, oh, hey girl, I know you was my BFF, but it's cool now. You effing my daddy and you my mama now. Like, girl, it's cool. I'm not even gonna worry about that. Like, in what world, Alicent, did you think that things were going to be okay, or that this was gonna be something that Rhaenyra like got through very quickly? I don't understand why she thought that it would be like that. We see that they kind of have like a mini court going on where they drive, where they're in a carriage when they go for the hunt. And the women are talking, which was really interesting to see all of the women together and having this conversation about what's happening in the Stepstones and, you know, how they feel the king is handling the situation, how it makes them all look. And I was like loving when Rhaenyra basically read the old lady for filth. Like, but what are you gonna do? You sitting up here asking me all these questions since you got so much to say about what my daddy is doing and what I don't know. How about you let me know why you sit up here and eat this cake that we paid for? So what you gonna do? I was happy. I was like, I'm here for Rhaenyra, like basically reading everyone for filth. But what I wasn't ready for was some of them Raggedy Lannisters to show up. It really it was not pleasing to my spirit to see Jason Raggedy Behind, because you know Jason is Tyrion's dad's like twin brother, and he's just sleazy because the way that he was giving eyes to Rhaenyra, because she's of age, she's 17 now, and when Rhaenyra was talking to him, you know, she was entertaining him, having these like conversations and stuff. And then when he was like, you know, you could be my lady wife, and then she was like, here your wine, honey. Absolutely not. She walked off. I was like, thank you, girl, because I just don't even understand. Do not get in bed with these Lannisters because we know they are raggedy. They are trash. You can't trust them. Don't nobody care about no Castle Rock. Like, bye. So she wasn't having it, and then she goes to talk to her father because she was like, hold on now, I'm sitting here minding my own business. I'm at this whole celebration against my will because, like, I don't care about this little kid. And then you gonna have the nerve to try to marry me off? Now, the king done had enough because he was like, Beesh, look, he didn't say that to her, but I'm just saying that's what he wanted to say to her. He was like, Beesh, you've been like this for 2 years, girl. Like, let it go. I'm saying, you know how many people trying to propose to you, and I've been like blocking them left and right? Okay? And you still gonna sit up here and act like this with me? It ain't like it's not a house of like a favor. Like, so he went off on her. He got so loud that like it caused the scene and everybody kind of stopped and like looked. And then Otto, the one time it was okay for him to interrupt, he diffused the situation. And then Rhaenyra ran off, which I was really excited about because then we got to see Sir Criston. And I was like, hey, cutie. Hey, Zeddy. And then I was just like, it's such a waste for him to be in the King's Guard because it's just like, you know, they can't marry. They can't take land. Like, that's just a waste of a fine man right there. Like, why would we just waste a fine man like that? And I feel bad for the common woman that he could have married and he said no to, so he can be in this little Raggedy King's guard. I was really upset for her. But he chases after Rhaenyra, and then they're kind of having this conversation. She kind of holds him hostage because he can't leave without her. And, you know, she's kind of just talking through everything that's happening and how she just doesn't think it's fair that she doesn't have a choice of her own life. And basically the decisions that her father has made, like, they affect her now. And in the midst of all of that, this pig just come out of nowhere and, like, try to kill her. And Kristen, like, stabs the pig. And now it's like, oh, thank you, Zaddy. But then the pig just got up. I was like, dang, like, you want some more? Then Rhaenyra started like, I felt like I was watching a little Chucky doll. And then, yeah, so that's what happened. She kind of just ran off, and, you know, her daddy has just been over her the entire episode. But I was really happy when he read Jason for Filth, when Jason basically asked for Rhaenyra's hand, and he just, like, the way that the king kept looking at him, he was just like, I do not like this hoe, especially when he told Otto, like, his pride has pride. Like, don't nobody like Jason. He ain't ish. Why would I want my daughter to marry him? But Otto presents another match for Rhaenyra. And I was like, oh, okay, who? Like, you know what? I thought he was finna say himself. And I was about to be like, I know you lying. I was ready to come through the screen and, like, fight him. Then he says that she should marry her brother. That's 2. And she's 17. And he's 2. Have that make sense for me? What? I said, what's her name? Lena? Was Lena not enough? Was she not enough last week? Now you was marrying off a 12-year-old last week. Now you're trying to marry a 2-year-old off? Have it make sense. Somebody kill Otto right now. I'm so sick of him. I'm sick of him. So, of course, after that, like, the king was like, everybody get away from me. Please get away from me. Tell the lords of the lords, like, hey, ho, I don't know where y'all got this, that I'm trying to name somebody else that's going to be heir to the throne. I already named that person. Her name is Rhaenyra. So I don't know why y'all thought or who told you that thinking was okay in my court. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm just trying to turn up and get lit. That's it. Like, dang, bye. Out of my face. Out of my face. He didn't say all of that, but that's basically what was happening. So we see that later in the conversation. There is a conversation that happens with one of his other lords, who was actually the one who came up with who told him that he should marry Lena because that's the smart decision as a king and what would be better for the strengthening of the realm. So he says, hey, well, since you didn't listen to me, now you asking for my opinion again. Last time you didn't take my advice, so I'm going to give it to you one more time. Next time I'm going to charge you. He told him, like, hey, well, actually, you should have Rhaena marry their son, who is a cutie, by the way. I said, hey, cutie. I got to make sure he of age first before I be saying that. But he told him, like, hey, this will be really good. This will once again do the same issue that I said it would do the last time that you didn't take my advice for. And so he kind of looked like, okay, Beach, like, I don't know. That's who needs to be your hand, because he the only one who be talking some sense. I think it was Sir Lionel. He the only one who be talking sense in the whole, like, cast. I don't know why he's not your hand in the first place, and why you got Raggedy hating Otto. Why is he your hand? Because this the one who got all of the sound advice in the first place. So we see that the king has a conversation with Alicent. You can tell that he's, like, very, like, there's a lot of weight on him. And so we find out that a lot of it is guilt because, you know, he had this dream about having the son, and that's why he was pushing Rhaenyra's mother to, like, keep having these kids, because he was supposed to have a son. And now he feels guilty because he thinks, like, what if he was wrong? Like, what if he took her life? Like, basically, he feels like he took her life for no reason, and she would still be here, and everything would be okay. His daughter would still love him, and life will be just fine. And so he's kind of having second thoughts, which, of course, Alicent doesn't want to hear anything like that, but he was just keeping it a buck with her. But they do their little ritual later because they find the stag and kill it. And then there's an interesting thing because, you know, they kind of show, like, well, this is showing that they have favor over the choices that the king has made. But Rhaenyra sees the stag when she tells Criston Fine Behind to let it go. So now I'm like, is it Rhaenyra who really has the favor, or is the raggedy little boy? I don't know. But we do see that Alicent has a conversation with her raggedy father, who is basically trying to get her to have a conversation with the king to let him know that he needs to name their son as the heir. And she goes to have a conversation with him, but then she stumbles across this note of them asking him to send aid to Daemon and Lord Corlys. And she kind of has to talk him through that, like, you know, what's better for the realm as a whole. If taking care of the Stepstones does that, then you need to send them aid, and that's what he ends up doing. Rhaenyra and the king, they actually finally have a real discussion, and I do like that she calls him out, because he was like, you need to marry, that's your duty. And then he's like, I want to see you happy. And she was like, so you think a man gonna fix that? Like, you think Jason of all people gonna fix that? No. And then she was like, you're sitting up here telling me that I have to marry for vantage, but you didn't do that, because Mary and Laena would have gave you that vantage, and you chose another path, and that's when you chose Alicent. And then I was like, oh, she got you, homie. She got you. So even he had to take a pause, and he was like, you know what, girl, you got me, okay? You got me. Go ahead, marry who you want to marry, which is what Alicent told him in the first place. Like, Rhaenyra has to feel like that this was her choice and her choice alone. So she did a little smile. I was like, okay, look at you. Y'all bonding again. But then she kind of like, she turned her face like, I don't want him to think that he got to my heart or anything. And so he admits, like, I did, you know, waver, and I didn't take my own advice, but, you know, he basically just wants her to be happy, and he wants to, like, he believes in her. He's not trying to get rid of her like she thinks that he is. He's trying to, like, bond with her. But we go to Daemon, and we see that the king's messenger comes and gives him the note letting him know that he's going to send aid. And I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, it's about to be a whole mutiny, because Lord Corlys, like, if we thought that Lord Corlys was acting crazy, his brother be talking even more reckless. Also, too, we got to do something with Lord Corlys' son's wig, because I don't understand why Lord Corlys' hair be laid every single week, but his kids' hair just don't be right. And I just think, I know that if Rhaenyra's lace front can be laid the way that it is every week, that we can do something to make sure that all of Lord Corlys' kids' hair is done. That just really bothers my spirit. And I just really need to take time out of my day to make sure that whoever is working in that department, the hair is not hearing. So I need y'all to do a little bit better. Y'all can get like an Instagram girl who be selling wigs on Instagram or TikTok. They can do 10 times better, all right? Okay, so we see that Daemon gets a message from the king, and then he started beating the mess out of the messenger. And I said, hold on, ain't this the whole point of saying don't shoot the messenger? I'm just doing what the king told me to come and do, and you sitting up here beating my ass for no reason. It don't make no sense. So we see that they come up with this plan that we didn't know what the plan was at first. Daemon goes and he like gets a white flag and he surrenders. He holds a little sword up. And I was like, I know his little deceitful behind ain't surrendering nothing. And then we realized that it was all basically a ploy. This was their plan that they came up with to take everybody out. So I ain't gonna lie. Now, Daemon was working though. My man's was by himself. He was like doing all of this, like just killing them. I was like, y'all can't kill him? Then they shoot like 200 arrows at him, like, I know that's not the arrow noise, but I was like, he dodging them, like he ducking and dodging. I was just like, sir, it's broad daylight. You mean to tell me y'all throwing all these damn arrows and ain't nobody hit him yet? Then he finally gets hit like 10 minutes later, okay, after he didn't kill 15 million people. He gets hit with a couple of arrows, and I was like, oh, snap, this is not looking too good. I was like, but I know on the 3rd episode that they not going to kill Matt Smith off yet. So there was hope. And then we see all the people coming out. They circle him. At first, I thought it was the people that was on his side, but then I was like, hold on, I don't think they had on red. So then I realized there was the crab feeders people. So then I was like, oh, snap, like, where is everybody else at? So then the dragon comes, and then it's the black. A dragon rider's a black man. A dragon rider's a black man. Y'all, come on now. Don't act like if you was black watching this and you saw this black boy on this dragon, let's say a Dracarys, and lighting everybody on fire, don't act like that didn't touch your spirit. Don't act like that didn't do something to you on the inside, okay? Because I was like, oh my good, I just never thought in a fantasy where clearly everybody should exist because it's fantasy, that I would see a black man on a dragon saying Dracarys and literally killing everybody. That really touched my spirit, okay? And then to see the uncle and the daddy, them fighting in their armor and stuff, like it just really did something for me to see that. And to be honest, it was the battle scene that really saved the whole episode, because while there was stuff going on, like it wasn't a ton of stuff going on. It wasn't until we got to the battle scene in the last 10 minutes of the episode that really saved it for me. But we see that, they went in. I'm here for it. I'm here for a little battle. And then we see Daemon comes out of the cave after he went after the crab feeder, and he just drug him out, like drug half of his body out, and his intestines just sitting up there like dragging. I wonder would the crabs eat the crab feeder? Like, or do they know that's they daddy, so they can't touch him? Just a random thing that I just thought about. But yes, so yeah, the crab feeder is gone. They have taken back the stepstones. And maybe Daemon and his brother, maybe they can make amends and be BFFs. Though they ain't gonna never be BFFs, but maybe they can be, cool again. But overall for this episode, it was fine. It was fine. But I do think that the battle sequence at the end and kind of that first battle that we see at the beginning of the episode, I think that's what made the episode entertaining for me. But I don't know. I do want to see what happens, if the whole Rhaena and what is his name? It's another L name, and I can't think of it. I think it's Lenore. Stomach. I just fed you, but I don't know. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Lord Crowley's son with the bad wig, with the bad dreads. So I'm interested to see what happens. If that is going to be a potential love interest for her. I didn't watch the preview of what's to come like y'all did, which spoiled most of the season. That's why y'all gotta start watching trailers. So I don't know what's gonna happen. I just bought the book, so I'm gonna start reading the book. Try not to get caught up to where we're at in the series. But yeah, let me know what you guys thought about this week's episode. It was cool. I still thought last week's episode was much better with the pettiness that was happening. But it's still okay in my book. I'm still on the train of loving this season so far. But yeah, that is my recap. Those are my thoughts about this week's episode. Daemon is still going to be MVP. I say Daemon is MVP of the episode because he was really marking them at the end. That really did that for me. But those are my thoughts on the House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 3, second of his name. Still don't care, Allison. But as always, my name is Sharana from Para Waits, and if you like what you saw today, make sure you hit the like button, hit subscribe, share this video with your friends, and make sure you hit the notification bell. And I love you guys 3000, and until I see you again, bye!